Hey there guys, how's it going? So, we really need to talk about the new medal released today, the Anti-Aqua medal. First of all, it is completely and utterly gorgeous, don't get me wrong, it's an absolutely stunning medal, pretty much the pose we could have expected from the trailer revealing her in the first place, with that awesome little dark aura around her. Stunning, gorgeous medal, don't have a problem with that. I have a sort of issue with the release, again, it's another one of those Mercy, one of the three medals sort of deals where it's not really a Mercy at all because you're not spending on a guarantee, it's the sort of trickery. I'd sort of prefer the more guaranteed option. If you really want this medal, wait until it comes back as a guaranteed Mercy, which granted could be quite a while. Anyway, who cares? We really need to talk about the new gameplay mechanic introduced with this medal. And well, not necessarily introduced with this medal because it was introduced into the update for the JP story mode 2 weeks ago, in which one of the enemies on the field had basically the inbuilt ability where whenever you cast a power type attack on it, it would reflect all of that damage right back to you immediately. And the second Endorphin uploaded his video of the story, I immediately said to him, and we said to each other basically, they're going to bring this into PvP. This is a PvP mechanic that they're debuting in the story mode. And here it is. So basically, when you cast Aqua Special Attack, you get this reflect around you, a magical type reflect, in which case, any damage for the rest of the turn that you receive from a magic type enemy, a magic type enemy, magic type metals, a magic type metal special attack, magic type metal supernova, any form of magic whatsoever, will be 100% reflected back to your opponent. Damage boosts mean nothing, it doesn't matter whatsoever. If you take any damage from your opponent in PvP, you will reflect 100% of the damage right back. What that effectively means is you null and void all their magic metals. If you cast this thing first, and then they attack in the same turn but after you, you nullify every single one of their magic metals, because all the damage they do to you, they could do 1 billion damage to you with magic metals, and you will send it right back to them as well. So if you deal 500 million damage, they deal 1 billion damage to you in magic, then all of a sudden your score becomes 1.5 billion because you just reflected it all back and you win. It's insane. Now hopefully you can see the logic here of, okay, well if this is the magic attribute, what's going to happen if they bring in a power and a speed type version as well? Let's say, okay, Aqua is the magic type version. What happens if they bring out, let's say, Sora and Riku as speed and power as they have in the past, or whatever characters they end up choosing? What's going to happen then? If you cast Riku and Sora and Aqua in the same turn, will you gain a reflectability for magic, speed, and power? I have to think surely not, because if that is the case, you can't lose. You physically cannot lose. If you go first, there is literally nothing an opponent can do to you, because all the damage you do, your final score rather, will be all the damage you've done, plus all the damage your opponent does. You literally can't lose. So that makes me think, okay, well, surely they're going to have to have the switch of only one of these reflects going to be possible at a time. Let me show you what's happening in PvP. Endorphin has really kindly recorded a PvP match, so let's blow it up for us right now. So effectively, he's gone through all of his turn already. He's used 5 out of the slots. Oh, I forgot to mention, by the way, whenever you activate this thing Supernova, it shoots off a few crystals simultaneously, which have each a 30% chance of breaking your opponent's guard, just like Montesora's regular attack, just like Zeus's regular attack. This thing is just completely insane. So let's join us now. Join Endorphin now as he very kindly goes ahead and plays out this PvP turn. So he's going to use the Supernova there. It's going to have a 30% chance of breaking the guard, which it does a couple times there. So it does 4 hits. And then there was a regular attack. Okay, now you can see. Let me just rewind that just ever so slightly. So this little thing here, the reflect magic, symbol right there that you can see. That's what I'm talking about. I don't know if they're going to let you have multiple one of those reflects on simultaneously. If they do, it's going to be so busted. It's going to be so completely busted. But I'm thinking, surely you can only have one at a time. Surely. Anyway, let's see what happens when the opponent attacks. So they use Kairi, obviously not going to be reflected because of that. They use Sora, and the entire turn's damage is reflected back. 860 million damage reflected right back. And that just bumps up Endorphin's score to over 3 billion. It's like literally every single magic attack is bursted back. We'll just skip through the power type ones, but you can see in a second, I believe, when the Supernova's launched. Yeah, there you go. So that was KHUx 20 Supernova being launched, and it just reflects all the damage straight back. It's just completely ridiculous. So again, extrapolate this out. What happens when there exists one of each of these for all 3 attributes? So yeah, I'm pretty curious as to what they're going to end up doing with this thing and with the entire mechanic. I guess whales rev up those wallets. Well, I shouldn't have saying that. I guess you only really need 2 copies of this medal, right? Assuming that most of the PvP weeks are going to be 3-blade PvP weeks. let's say you're doing in the you're offensive, okay? You have one of these in slot in Keyblade 1, have one in Keyblade 3. No point having it in Keyblade 2 because you're going to be attacked by the opponent and then you'll be attacking them back. And obviously you can't use the reflect on that turn because your opponent's already attacked you. There's no more damage to reflect. So what's going to happen then? So, yeah, I guess, okay, assuming 3 Blade PvP weeks, you have one of these in Keyblade 1, one in Keyblade 3, and if a power and a speed type version eventually exist, have one of them in Keyblade 1 and Keyblade 3 as well, and I don't see how you lose. I literally don't see how you lose. Again, unless you can only have one effect active at a time. That's pretty much the only thing, and I guess if that's the case, then you have like mind games, right? So, let's say you have one of these existing for each attribute, and then you have a PvP week where it's one power Keyblade, one speed Keyblade, one magic Keyblade. Well, then what do you do? Then it's basically the mind games of, okay, are they going to do the magic Keyblade first? In that case, then I want to have my magic reflector at the front. Or are they going to have, you know, let's get some mind games there. Now, what's going to happen if they release like a 3 Magic Blade PvP week? It's just going to be whoever has 2 copies of Aqua. They just win. They just win automatically. If there's a week in which it's counterpoints, Diamond Dust, and 3 Wishes, if you have 2 Aquas, you win immediately. There's no way to lose. God, this game's ridiculous. This game is completely broken. I mean, I hope the whales see through it. I doubt I'm talking to anyone who's listening at this point, because I'm sure, you know, there's no coincidence that one of the most popular designs ever, and certainly one of the most requested ever, has been turned into this medal with this awesome mechanic. There's no coincidence at all. So, I'm sure the whales have already, in the JP, spent a shitload, and I'm sure they're going to be doing the same thing in 10 hours in Global as well, so, yeah. So one thing I wanted to highlight was this right here, the actual name of the special attack. It's Magical Attribute 100% Reflect. So I was talking to Endo and we were sort of discussing, well, do we think that's 100% of the attacks reflected, in the sense of it's not like a chance, it's not like a 50-50 chance, it's every single magic attack you get will be reflected all the way back? Or is it in terms of the amount of damage reflected back is 100%? So every bit of damage that you take, 100% is reflected back, and then you could have, you know, minor medals with like a 30% reflect, you could have them with different potential effects. What if you have, you know, I was just thinking, like, how do you replace this medal? If this medal exists, where do you go from there in terms of just repeating this effect, but with more damage and the multiplier? Not that this one has a bad multiplier, I mean, it's got a crap load of strength, and a decent multiplier to back it up with as well, so it hits hard in its own right. But I was thinking, well, can you improve this by having, like, 150% reflect, so that when your opponent attacks you, you deal 1.5 the amount of time damage out? I'm just thinking in the future of, at some point they're going to have to make this thing obsolete as well, right? So what are they going to do then? It doesn't really matter. Alright guys, that's about it. So I'll talk to you guys soon. Now let me know what you think about this ridiculous game, this ridiculous mechanic. Am I crazy? Like, what do you think is going to happen? Do you think they're going to let you stack 3 of them at the same time? Do you think it's going to be an overwrite where only 1 reflect will be active at a time? What do you think? What do you think? Do you think we'll see more 5-week PvP weeks? Oh, who knows. Anyway guys, thank you so much. I'll see you really soon. All the best. Bye.